We've just had a lot of people ask
ask us questions about the adoption, about Zane, about how we started. And so we wanted to take a little time and actually answer a few questions for you. That's why we're kind of shooting this video now, just to hit everybody at once.
We kind of want to document this for us, but then also for others. I think a lot of people have had questions, and I don't know if we're going to answer them.
Hopefully.
Maybe we will.
Yeah.
Maybe? We're not sure what the purpose of this video is. The purpose of this video is just to give you a little insight of how we felt about the process up until this point.
Yeah, and kind of answer some of the questions that people have asked over the course of this process, recently and in the past. Kind of give you a little bit more insight about what it looks like to adopt. The good, the bad, the ugly. Well, maybe not the ugly.
Well, we clearly don't know what we're doing, or maybe why we're doing this video, but we want to do it.
So hopefully you guys enjoy.
In 2005, actually, I went on a missions trip to Africa. I was in the Kalahari Desert for a summer, and that was where my heart really broke for the children and the people, and it all started there.
We'd had it on our hearts to adopt from Africa from the beginning. It was just a matter of which country in Africa. Throughout the whole process of finding out what each country requires and what we actually qualified for, we kept coming back to Ethiopia.
Doors just kept closing, and that's kind of what we had prayed, that the doors that that should be closed were closed, and that the door that should be open would stay open. And everywhere we went, Ethiopia just kept coming back.
We really felt like God had called us to that country, because I've told several people shortly after we actually submitted our paperwork for Ethiopia, well, at least I found out, which I don't know if it's still true today, but it has one of the largest populations of orphans in all of Africa, and I don't think it was a coincidence that we ended up with that country.
So a lot of people think that there's this giant list of kids and you just pick out a picture, or that you walk into an orphanage and point to someone and say, that's the child I want to adopt. And that may be true in some cases, but in most international adoptions, what I found is that you're put on a waiting list and you can make requests. So we had specific requests that we made. We started with a certain age, and then through the waiting, we expanded our age level a little bit. And then we didn't care what gender, because this was going to be our first child, and we thought the element of surprise would be exciting. And so basically, different adoption agencies work differently, but how our adoption agency works is once a child is paper ready through their country, then they may be matched with a family. So although there are children in orphanages, unless the government can get specific documentation that would allow that child to leave the country, then unfortunately they can't be matched with a family yet. So we were waiting to be matched, and then not that long ago we got a call and said, hey, we have a referral for you.
When we started, it was quite different than what it became, just in the fact of like wait times and all that kind of stuff. When we started the process, they told us it was going to be between 12 to 18 months from the time that our paperwork got to Africa to the time that we got placed with a child. And since things have definitely changed. Now, if you go to our organization's website, the minimum wait time is up to 4 years, which is just insane.
When we started, I imagined it would maybe be 18 months at the most. I thought financially it would be harder than maybe any other aspect, just because I knew international adoption cost a lot. But overall, I think my expectations were quite off and unrealistic for what I was getting myself into. But yeah, it seemed like not too hard. Financially, it was going to be a challenge, but besides that, within a year to a year and a half, we were going to be getting on a plane and bringing a child home in one trip. Nothing that I expected. It has been the hardest and the best, the scariest, the biggest test to my faith, and it's been incredibly challenging waiting. When you have a idea of what something's going to be like, and all of those expectations just keep being shot down, and you're told time and time again that the wait is now longer, the wait is now longer. I never knew how emotionally exhausting and draining this journey would be. The question was, how has it been? Hard. Really hard.
And what has not been a hard part in this? I guess, the whole wait and everything has been very difficult. But I would have to say, for me personally, the hardest part has just been knowing that my son is on the complete opposite end of the world and I can't be with him. And is especially when we get reports of he's sick or he has such and such going on, or he's getting older and we're not there, and he's growing and we're not there, and that's by far been the hardest thing.
I think the wait has been the hardest for sure. The wait and people not truly understanding what we were experiencing. I think a lot of people thought that we were just continuing to live our lives, and adoption came up every now and then with us, but I think a lot of people didn't see the heartache and the pain and the real challenges that we were going through during this wait. It can be extremely difficult to see friends. We would attend weddings, and then they would have babies, and then they would have another baby. And not that we weren't happy for our friends and our family, because we totally were, but it was extremely difficult for me sometimes to see that here people have had multiple children through this wait while I'm waiting for my child. And to be honest, a lot of people who didn't understand would say very hurtful things like, oh, you're doing this the easy way. And I think a lot of people don't understand how hard sometimes it really can be. And now the hardest part, like Jeffrey said, is, when we got his first picture, he looked so much like a little baby, and now he's starting to look more like a toddler, and I don't want to talk about that and talk about him growing up, because he is literally growing up in front of us through photographs, and that hurts.
It's just been, I would say, just like a test of, like, do you really believe the promises God laid out in the Bible? Like, is it just something you read and you can have your nice Christian answer when somebody asks you something, or are you really gonna believe it? And in a situation like this, where you literally don't know what's happening half the time, or you're at the mercy of somebody at a desk on another part of the world, and you have no control over anything. It's like holding on to that promise that God put in our heart, that He would be with us throughout the whole thing, has just been, I'd say, the biggest thing that I've learned, that He is faithful, because in the times that we've really prayed about the process and prayed about for Zane, it's like seeing little victories happen, and the whole process has just been a boost to our faith. And so yeah.
Well, we already knew this, or we had a good idea, because we just love the people that were around. But we truly have amazing friends and family, and they have rallied around us and prayed for us and supported us financially, emotionally, through this whole thing. And it has just been so reassuring knowing that we have just the best people who love us, and Zane is walking into just this really awesome tribe of people. I've learned that for sure. And I've also learned a lot about just standing firm in your faith and not giving up. And there were times where I really wanted to give up, and I'm so thankful that my husband continued to fight when I was tired and when I didn't think it was ever going to happen. So yeah, I've learned a lot about people and a lot about God. We are so excited for the next step in our process, and we can't wait to share more information with you guys and keep you posted on what's going on with the adoption. We love you so much, and we just really appreciate you.